Hello everybody. Oh my gosh, we're live. And welcome to Living Well Today, the show where we're going to bring different guests every single week, or every time we're live, to bring you tools to help you live well today. I'm really excited to be here today for our first ever show with the Living Well Today. And yeah, I'm really excited to get to know yourself and the viewers. So please do comment, say hello in the comments, just to let me know you're here so we can interact. And I'm really excited to be here with you today. And we've got a really special guest that I'm going to bring onto the show today, which I'm really excited about. She's a very wise individual, but she's also a very good friend of mine. So we actually got to know each other through the holistic community when we first set up, and she's been with me since the beginning. So I'm really excited to bring her on a bit later. And yeah, so I see that we have got one hello from Tiffany. So lovely to see you today. So hello Tiffany, lovely to see you. Hello Terry. Good morning Adele, Sarah and Richard. Hello Terry. Yes, and Christine, hello, hi. And yes, very good point. We've got Richard as well, obviously, behind the scenes, and he is the producer, so he's behind the scenes working all the magic. So good day from Australia. Hello, Kelly, lovely to see you. And from Australia as well, lovely. Hello, nice to see you. And another one from Australia. Gosh, amazing. Hello, Wendy Watson. Watson is my maiden name, so lovely to see you. Hello and good morning to Onza. Good morning. Lovely to see you. Jay, yay. Hello, lovely. So Jay's from our little community as well, from our little in-person community. I'm pleased you managed to make it today. And we've got Missy as well. Good morning to you all. We've got Wendy, lovely Wendy, saying hello and to the community. Stacey as well, lovely to see you. Hello, good morning. And she's saying good morning to everybody. Gosh, you're all coming in. I love this. So Onza, you're from the USA. I love that. Hello from the USA. And if anyone else, if you wouldn't mind just saying where the locations that you are in, it's really handy to sort of know how far and wide we've reached, which actually reminds me to say that if you are watching this, and because this is our very first Living Well Today show, if you wouldn't mind sharing it with any holistic communities you're with, that would be amazing. And just liking and commenting just to try and gain as much exposure as we can. Hello, Andrea. Hello, my spiritual sister and family. I love that. What a beautiful message. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely to connect with you and everybody else that has sent in messages. Katie. I love that. Hello, lovely. I'm pleased that you're able to join us today. And then we've got another person from Australia. There's quite a few of you from Australia, which is lovely. Hello, Kim. Lovely to connect with you. I was going to say good morning, but it's evening your end. So from what you can expect today from this show is I'm going to bring on the lovely Sarah Chapman in a second. So when I was a guest on Nick's show a few weeks ago, we spoke a little bit about Sarah and shadow work, and there was a lot of interest about what shadow work is and how it can help. So this is why I wanted to bring Sarah on the show today. So I'm really excited to bring her on in a second. And then after we've had a little chat with Sarah, so it'd be more of a casual conversation with Sarah, we will then have a little 5-minute meditation. So I've pre-recorded a meditation for you all today. So it's just a little 5-minute meditation for you to relax and listen to in the comfort of your own home. And then we'll be coming back on just to have a little conversation about the meditation and see how you all found the meditation. Hello, Julie. Lovely to see you and connect with you. Thank you so much for dialing in, and thank you to every single person that's commented, every single person that has joined already. And when I'm going quiet, I'm just getting messages from Richard, our producer. So if anybody is watching through my personal page, we won't be able to see those messages, but just to say thank you so much for dialing in, and thank you for watching and joining us. And anyone that I haven't had a chance to say hello to, just wanted to say a big warm hello and thank you for joining, to all of you as well today. So I think we might be ready to bring on the lovely Sarah, if that's okay, Richard. So if you'd like to, so if everybody would like to join me in saying a warm welcome to Sarah. I seem to get my words mixed up. Hello, Sarah, and thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah, good, thank you.
Fabulous. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. And the reason being is I know that when I touched on shadow work very briefly on Nick's show, that it attracted a lot of interest into what it is you do, and that's why I wanted to bring you on today. So I'm really excited to have you with me today. So if everybody would like to just show some love to Sarah in the comments and just saying hello, and while those are coming through, I just thought it'd be really nice, Sarah, for you to do a little introduction of yourself, just introducing yourself, and maybe give a little brief overview of how you got into shadow work in the first place. Where did your spiritual journey start?
Okay, so I'm Sarah, and I am mum to a 19-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old little boy. Massive age gap. So my spiritual journey started probably around 6 years ago, but I really dove deep into the shadow side of spirituality probably around 4.5 years ago, when my youngest child came to live with us. He's not mine. I have him under something called a special guardianship. So he came from a lot of trauma. He was really struggling to fit in and understand what a normal family life was like. And I was really struggling with my own triggers and my own feelings of mum guilt at not being able to give him the same childhood that I'd given to my daughter. So I was looking into trauma and things like that and how I could help him. And it turns out actually to be the best mum you can be, you kind of have to work on your own trauma. So that's what led me on to finding out about shadow work and the shadow side of ourselves.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving that. And I've seen the comments coming in showing the love for you already. So I'm loving that. Thank you, everyone that showed some love to Sarah already. So Sarah, if anybody's got any questions for Sarah about shadow work or about what she's already spoken about already, then do let us know or put them in the comments, and then we can get Sarah to interact with everyone. So yes, perfect. Thank you for all of the comments that are coming in. So Sarah, so I know, because I know you quite personally as well, so I know the journey that you've been on, and it's been quite a journey. So how so since you've been doing the shadow work, how would you feel it's benefited you as an individual?
I think for me, the biggest part of accessing my shadow and really coming to terms with the traumas and everything that's kind of hidden in there, it's helped me to become a better version of myself. So by doing that, I've kind of become more aligned with my, like, the higher part of me, my, you know, my true authentic, you know, my true authenticity, and because of that I can kind of self-reflect in difficult situations. So where you might find that there's a bit of sort of anger, or you're having an argument with someone, because I know where my triggers are and I can identify them, it gives me that opportunity to take a step back and see that actually it's probably not me, it's not something I should be taking personally, and it could just be that I've triggered somebody else, or, and it's a really lovely way to have that self-reflection and kind of move through life in the feeling of love, really, rather than having a look at everything and seeing the bad and the negative emotions. I can see all the positives from every situation. Yeah, I would say probably standing in my authenticity more.
So it's almost like recognizing when you might be triggered, rather than blaming someone for making you feel in a particular way. It's going in. So, and so if there's any viewers that are on the watching at the moment that don't know what shadow work is, did you want to give a brief understanding, sort of, I know you've briefly spoken about it from your own journey, but I just wondered if there's someone completely brand new, not sure, how would you explain it to them?
So first I would explain what the shadow actually is. So the shadow, it's made up of the parts of ourselves that we reject or disown, and we can do that either consciously or subconsciously. So it can be things like our sadness, our grief, any rage that we're feeling, or parts of us that we've been conditioned to believe that are wrong about us. So when someone tells you that you're a little bit too much, you're too loud, you're too sensitive, we kind of push all that down, and where we're pushing that, that's the shadow, and that's what we kind of need to look at. So basically anything really that you feel ashamed of. And as far as what shadow healing is, I mean, I could talk about it for hours, you know, we've had those conversations, but if I was to sum it up in a very short thing, it would be shadow healing is a practice of healing and self-growth. And this requires surrender and acceptance. By honouring our shadow, we get those essential lessons, and we get personal realizations and freedom from the shadow. So instead of pushing it away, we're embracing it, we're bringing it forward, and we're saying, this is who I am and this is how I am. It's how we lead our life in truth, and not hiding away, destroying ourselves in the dark.
Okay, that's so lovely put. I think every time you explain it to me, you use different words, and I always find it fascinating. It's always like I'm listening with new ears every time you say or you try and explain it. So thank you for that. So I was trying to think. So I know, sort of for me, I've been very, very lucky with being able to work with you directly, personally, and in person, to work through the shadow work and stuff. So I already know what to expect if people work with you. Before I actually go on to that question, I just saw that Karen's got a question for you. So the question is, do you run courses or one-off workshops on shadow work?
Hi Karen, thank you for your question. That's a really good question. So it's not a course, it's basically it's a block of 6 weeks, and it's a weekly session for 6 weeks. And in that 6 weeks, I'll give you all the information you need to continue your journey. So we would start off with looking at your shadow, seeing where you're struggling, things like that. Then I will give you, there's workbooks, and we either do in-person meetings once a week or over Zoom or Skype, whichever's easiest. And then after the 6 weeks, depending on how you feel you're getting on your journey, depends on how we see each other after that. We can continue to see each other weekly, or it can be 2 weekly or monthly. But my goal is to give all of my clients the tools and coping strategies they need, so that eventually they can move on and continue their work without needing to rely on me.
And that's what I loved about doing the shadow work with you, because you are very passionate about giving the tools, and that's what I've found. You obviously gave me the tools to be able to do it myself going forward. So this 6-week course or program, that sounds like a great way of just giving everyone the tools within those 6 weeks. And it's funny because the question I was going to ask was, what can people expect if they were going to work with you? And you just answered that in that question. So thank you so much, Karen, for asking that and just prompting that question. So that's amazing. So I was just thinking, so Sarah, if somebody was to work with you, would it be online or in person?
So I do both. So
we can
do, yeah, we can, because the work is one-to-one, I don't really do group activities for shadow work because it's so personal. I can be available to travel, or people come to me, or I do it over Zoom. I've got a couple of clients I've only ever seen over Zoom, and I've got some clients who, in the holidays when their children are off school, I see them of an evening, so I can be quite flexible as well. I'm so passionate about shadow work that actually I'm quite happy to be flexible enough so that people that are interested can access this, because I believe it's really beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight a comment that you said, which was that it's personal with the individual, because I know when I did the shadow work with you, quite a lot of stuff came up, and it was almost like, it felt like almost like a spiritual therapy session. So a lot of things were coming up for me where I was sharing lots of things from the past, childhood, and all the way through right up to adulthood. And it was nice to be able to share that with you, and the responses that you gave was more of a sort of a holistic perspective, and it helped me to understand, oh, okay, that's why I felt that particular way, or that's why I'm triggered now. So I'm just looking at, so Jay's just sent a comment in, and that is, would you say it's sort of a way of transmuting the negative energies into positive energies?
So that would be a really beautiful way of putting it. What it does essentially remove the negativity that we feel around the traumas that we have experienced. So yes, it's a lot of removing those negative feelings that we've kind of been harboring, even though we might not necessarily know that we have. So yes, that's a really beautiful way of putting that, Jay. Yeah,
thank you, Jay. And that brings me, because you mentioned there about the traumas, so just so we can clarify that, so a trauma might not be something huge, it could be something small, couldn't it? So did you want to explain a little bit about sort of traumas and how that might be stored in the body?
Yeah, so when we suffer a trauma, it may feel huge to us, but when we speak to somebody else about it, we might feel like it's actually only a very tiny thing. But everyone's trauma is relative to them, so you can't base your trauma and how big your trauma is on somebody else's experience. And the way that we store trauma in the body is generally everywhere. It's stored everywhere. So you're looking at things like headaches, stress, anxiety, poor digestion, sleeplessness. I mean, there is anything you can think of. When I started my journey, I was extremely unwell. I had fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, IBS, hiatus hernia. I just have everything that the doctors didn't have an answer for. And the further into my shadow I went, each one of those illnesses, diagnoses went away, and I now don't have any of them. Social anxiety I had health anxiety. I used to wake up every day and think that day was the day I was going to die. And it was a real fear. I was absolutely petrified that day was going to be the day that I would die. So I'd wake up thinking that, then I'd go to bed thinking I was going to die in my sleep. And that's because I'd had so much trauma that I just kept in, that it had no way of getting out other than those negative feelings just in my body, making me really, really unwell.
Okay, thank you for for explaining that, Sarah. We've got a question here that I wanted to go through with you. So it's this is from Stacey. So thank you so much, or Stay, sorry. Thank you for sending this in. So would you say shadow work is a form of spiritual counselling, and does it involve more meditative work or talking therapy?
Great. That's an awesome question. Thank you, Stace. So shadow work is absolutely a form of spiritual counselling. And it has all of that. So it is meditative work and talking therapy. But there's a lot more involved to it as well. So I do things such as energy healing for my clients. We also can do past life regression and hypnotherapy. I'm just doing my shamanic studies to help bring in some shamanic healing. The talking therapy part of it is probably the smallest part of shadow work. Shadow work is a lot of smaller things that make the bigger thing. So the journaling, the talking therapy, the meditation, we do a lot of inner child work. So yeah, I would say those are two very important parts of shadow work, but it's much bigger than that.
Thank you, Sarah, for answering that, and thank you, Stace, for asking the question, because that was a really good question. And going on what we were saying earlier, what you mentioned, Sarah, which was releasing the negative energy and bringing in the positive. I know from experience of working with you, I remember that's what we were doing. We were sort of looking at bringing the talking about whatever event happened in the past, then we'd look at that emotion or whatever that energy was, and you would always look at, okay, so how can we release that? You're very passionate about working with me as an individual as to what does my body need to actually release that. I remember you very much being passionate about topping up the energy. So we're getting rid of the energy, the negative energy or whatever's happened, but we are then filling it up with something positive, whether that was for me to have a little dance somewhere or going out in nature. Or can you think of any other tools that you would give people for topping up energy, for raising their vibration almost?
Yeah, so like you said, I do focus heavily on replacing rather than just releasing, because if we just release and we don't replace, we're left with a void there, and it can feel a little bit like we're empty, and that can often put us off of wanting to do any more work. So when I say to my clients, let's think of something we can do to fill up the energy, it could be that they feel like they really do need some energy healing. We'll go in with that. It could be that actually they've done some really deep inner child work, so we need to go back to that age. What kind of things were you doing at 6, 7, 8 that made you feel happy, that made you, really get in touch with that inner child and do that? It could be as simple as going in your garden and having a skip, blowing some bubbles, doing some painting. My biggest way of getting people to fill their energy up is to ask them, what do you feel sets your soul on fire? What makes you happy in those moments when you feel really down, really depressed, really low? What are the things that you love to do that instantly bring that energy up? And if they can't think of anything, have a dance and a sing, because that instantly raises those vibrations up.
I love that. Thank you, Sarah. And actually, that prompted me to ask the viewers what it is that you like to do to top up your energy, what makes you feel alive and happy, and it'd be interesting to see what else comes up for people. So for me, I love dancing and walking out in nature, but I know that and I'm very much at the moment into the creative activities, and they're really good for bringing in that inner child work then, isn't it? Even just colouring. Sometimes if I'm watching TV, I've got into colouring again, which I haven't done since a child, but I'm like, I actually really enjoy this.
I love colouring. I do it all the time. I paint pictures for my friends and give them to them, and just anything. I think, do you know what, I might be feeling a bit low today, and I'm like, right, let's get the paints out, let's do it.
Yeah. And the thing is, as an adult, look, I don't know at what point it is that we think we can't do those things again. It's almost like, why are you colouring in? You're an adult now. And I'm like, and like,
yeah.
I find it relaxing and calming.
Yeah, me too.
So we've got a comment for Victoria. Hello, Victoria. It's lovely to see you here. So let me just go through this. So do you find that people come to you specifically to work through emotional trauma? Should we do through one question at a time? Because there's a few. Yeah, let's do one question at a time because there's a few questions there. So first question, do you find that people come to you specifically to work through emotional trauma?
Yes. I mean, the short answer is yes. Most people come to me specifically for emotional trauma. However, when people start working through their emotional trauma, that's when the other traumas start to come out, or the other parts of their shadow that start to come out as well.
Yeah, fabulous. And then the other question, the other question. Are there any other reasons someone might want to do shadow work? That's a good question.
Yeah, so not everybody wants to do shadow work to work on trauma. It's just that they go so well together. They are literally like a match made in heaven. However, some people come to me to work through their shadow to become not just better versions of themselves, because that's the biggest thing. You do your shadow work because you want to be a better version of yourself, but also because they want to be a better wife, a better mum, just, you know, some spiritual growth, to see where they might be struggling, to help them through mental health, to help them through addiction. I have a couple that I see, a husband and wife, and we work through their shadow collectively. So it's not their trauma. I work with them individually, but we work through the trauma that's been caused through their marriage. I have one client who I'm helping through quite a severe addiction to drugs. So there's a lot of different reasons that people work through their shadow, not always trauma.
Fabulous. And actually Victoria's questions kind of lead me to say, and you've already said it, that actually anybody that's listening can come and see you. It's not necessarily that they have to have experienced a particular trauma. It's basically, like you've said, anybody that really wants to understand themselves on a better level, if they're finding they're reacting a lot to situations and they want to understand themselves and just be a bit more, it's almost like a way of self-love and compassion for ourselves. Because when I started to work with you and start to understand why I was reacting or responding in a particular way, the shadow work helps you understand that, and it brings a element of compassion and self-love to ourselves, to think, okay, it's okay that I feel like this, and you know, like working through it through the shadow work.
Yeah, it is about that. It's about honouring those feelings, because a lot of the time we are told that our feelings aren't valid at all, especially as children. You know, when you're told to stop crying, or I give you something to cry for, or what have you got to be stressed out about? And you're like, but actually these feelings are really real to me. So we then go through life second guessing our feelings and emotions, and if we feel like our emotions are too big for the situation, we'll instantly start to push them away. So shadow work is really, really great for trauma. It's really great for trauma, but it's also good for everyday life as well. So it can help you when you're feeling really anxious, when those emotions are bubbling up and you don't really know what they are, you don't know how to allow them to flow. That's where shadow work comes in. That's where we pinpoint those emotions, because a lot of us can only really acknowledge 2 or 3 emotions, and we feel like we're angry or we're sad or we're happy. We kind of forget that there's a lot of other emotions underneath all of that. So with the shadow work, we bring those emotions up and we say, okay, we're angry, but what's underneath that anger? Let's get rid of that anger. Let's have a big shouting session together, or let's have a punch in the pillow session together, and then see what comes out after that. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so if anybody else has any other questions for Sarah, now would be the time, because we are coming to the end of having the lovely Sarah with us. But I've really enjoyed having you here and sharing your wisdom with everyone. So we have got the lovely Victoria. Hello. Victoria Page. Oh gosh, I didn't get to read your message, sorry. Richard, can we go back to Victoria's necessaries? Okay, Johnny Lake, but lovely to hear you talk about your work, Sarah. So very powerful and important what you do. What a beautiful message. Thank you, Victoria. Okay, thank you. Okay, and Kerry, we've got the lovely Kerry here. So I have a lot of stored rubbish, I think. I am exactly the same as Sarah, same symptoms, etc.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Kerry. That's such a brave thing to share so openly. So the reason that we get a lot of these symptoms and we stored emotions is because when we go through anything that elevates our emotional response to something, we get something in our bodies called cortisol. And when we're not allowing our emotions to flow, the cortisol has nowhere to go. So our cortisol levels are high, which means our body is in a constant state of fight or flight. So by allowing those emotions to flow and when we acknowledge them, it helps us to reduce those cortisol levels, bringing us into a state of homeostasis, basically, where we're cool, calm and collected. And when we then have an emotional response to something, our levels aren't up here, so we can respond to it appropriately, which allows those emotions, which allows those symptoms and those illnesses to kind of dissipate, because we don't have those huge levels of cortisol in our blood.
Thank you, Sarah, for explaining that. I was thinking when you were saying earlier about the symptoms that you had, I was linking it to the fight or flight response in the system. So I think you've explained that a lot better than I could. So thank you. So I know there was a few other comments, so I'll just wait and see what else comes up, because I did see that somebody else did. I
think there's another one from Kerry there.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. Yeah, well done. Thank you, Sarah. So what happens if you don't have a big trauma but have lived life just in fight or flight mode?
So by living your life in fight or flight mode, that's trauma in itself, because your body is already having all of those, that adrenaline, that cortisol, the anxiety, the fear, that's running through your body. So that in itself is a trauma. So what I would suggest there would be to probably do a little bit of journaling, start noticing your feelings, start writing them down and naming what those feelings are. And when you're feeling like you're in the fight or flight, you know, those anxiety, that breath is getting fast and your heart's beating really fast, is try and come into the breath. That's the quickest way to calm that central nervous system down, is come into that yoga breath. And when you're breathing in, because our brains can be racing when we're having that fight or flight feeling, when you're breathing in, it would be a really good idea to say, I'm breathing in, and then when you breathe out, say, I'm breathing out. That helps to quieten your mind down and just literally focus on your breathing.
Thank you, Sarah. And actually, I love that you mentioned the journaling as well, because we haven't mentioned it already, but I know that was one of the biggest tools that I still use now from the shadow work stuff that we did together. So, yeah. And actually some days when I'm doing the journaling, it might just be, okay, when was I triggered today? It's such a powerful tool. So thank you for mentioning that.
No problems.
We've got Rebecca here as well. Hello, Rebecca. And we've got a comment from her saying, my cortisol are high most of the time due to a chemical injury. Very difficult to deal with. Oh, Rebecca, thank you for sharing that. Oh.
Can we go back to Rebecca's question?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So we'll just go back to Rebecca's question. We'll just give it a few more moments for, there it is, there we go. So again, if I read it out, so my cortisol are high most of the time due to a chemical injury, very difficult to deal with.
I'm really sorry that you have to deal with that, Rebecca, and high levels of cortisol are extremely difficult to deal with. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know how far into your cortisol journey that you are, but I would suggest maybe having a look at a low cortisol diet. So eating foods that can help to reduce those levels of cortisol in your body. When you feel like you're in a situation where it's getting to that stage where it's high adrenaline, you know, your adrenals are going, that cortisol's rising, maybe take a minute if you can to just remember that you're safe, bring yourself into the breath and remember the mantra, I am safe, I am loved. That should help to just reduce those cortisol levels a little bit more. I mean, I'm not sure that will help with the chemical injury, but it will help with adding more cortisol on top of what you've already got. Oh, I'm glad that you're getting there.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm slowly getting there. I'm over the worst. That's good to hear that you're over the worst. And thank you so much for sharing that journey, your story. And yes, improving your diet. Okay.
Oh God. Sorry, my chair's really squeaky. I mean, anything that you can cut from your diet, the things that you can cut from your diet that will really help are things like dairy, gluten, any kind of red meats, that kind of thing. But equally, make sure that you're speaking to your GP or your dietitian or anybody else that's in there to make sure that's safe for you. But those are the things that I cut out of my diet. Any fizzy drinks, caffeine, anything like that, they were gone. A lot of processed sugars, that was gone. Anything that was heavily processed, also I didn't eat that. But again, it's really important that when you're making any significant changes to your diet or anything like that, that you speak to a medical professional.
So have you found, Sarah, for yourself, since you've changed your diet and cut some things out, have you noticed a difference in your energy and your mood? And
oh yeah, absolutely. My sleep is better, my energy levels are better, my digestion is better, my mood levels even are better because I don't get that crash of sugars. So when you're eating I eat whole food, plant-based as much as I can, your energy levels are quite consistent. But you can get that with any diet as long as you are eating the right foods for your body, which is why it's really important to, if you are thinking of making changes, to get the proper. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I just want to check to see if there's any other comments or questions for Sarah while we've got her on the show. It'd be good to make use of her time and her wisdom, but you and everybody can connect with Sarah outside of this show. So I know Richard's got the link to Sarah's Facebook page, which is Sarah Chapman Holistic Therapies. Is that right, Sarah? Yeah. And you also run a Facebook group as well, don't you? Is it called Spiritual Club or something? Is that the one?
Yeah, so I've got two Facebook groups I run. Okay. I run one that's the Spiritual Club, and I run one that's called the Sacred Sisters Sharing Circle. They're a little bit witchy as well as the shadow work. So yeah, come along and join us.
That's what I was going to say. So could you do like free meditations there for people as well, don't you? So if anybody wanted to connect with you and experience working with you, then they could tap into that as well. So we've got a question from Lee, saying crystal energy. And does it work? So
I mean, I use crystals, and for me it absolutely works, and I think for anybody that uses crystals, they will tell you absolutely crystal energy works. I believe everything is based on intention. So if your intention is that it will work for you, then the crystal energy will work for you. If your intention is it will not work for you, it's not going to work for you. I think that's true of anything. If you have a positive mind frame, then your things will be more positive for you, and if you have a negative one, things will be more negative, and it's the same with things working.
Yeah, and that's so well put, so thank you, Sarah, because I was thinking of that, like you were saying, if it's all to do with the intent, isn't it? If your intention is for it to bring good to you, then it will do that. So, and like you said, you can apply that to everything that you use, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense, so thank you for that. I don't think we've got any other questions from anyone else. So, oh, one's just popped up. So let's answer this. So this is from Michelle. So it's, being a survivor of domestic abuse, I lived a fight or flight for years. Since being on my healing journey, which led on to my spiritual journey just under 4 years ago, I'm in a much better place. I am now a Reiki practitioner and crystal healer, fabulous, and breath work and positive affirmations are vital, definitely. I really do believe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing that journey, sharing how you got into your spiritual journey and how your path since you've got onto that spiritual journey has really helped you. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that, and all of the different tools that you're using, like the Reiki, the crystal healing, the breath work, the positive affirmations. You're literally absorbing all of it, which is amazing. Sarah, did you have anything to add?
Thank you for sharing so openly, Michelle. That's so brave. And I honestly completely understand being a survivor of domestic abuse. It's something I've survived as well. And I think because of that, it gives us such a beautiful position to provide these healing practices from, because we can come from such a deep place of compassion, because not only have we had to have compassion for ourselves and what we've been through, we then learn to have compassion for the people that put us through that. So having that amount of compassion and that amount of experience is a really beautiful way to I'm so sorry for us then to become healers, and we can relate to other people, so they then tend to open up to us more. So a lot of people that do come from trauma and that do the work then do lead on to becoming healers in some way, shape or form, because we just have that compassion there.
Yes, I think that's very well put there, Sarah. Like you were saying, it's the going through something traumatic to lead to the spiritual growth. Then when we realise how these different tools can help us so much, we then want to share it with other people. Yeah. Which is kind of, I suppose, what you've done with the shadow work. You realise how much it was helping you, and now you share that with others and want to give those tools to others, which I love. I think that's the last of the comment and the questions. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on today, for shining your light for everyone to see. And for anybody watching, you can connect with Sarah outside of this, and we will definitely be having Sarah back in the future. So it won't be the last you'd see of Sarah, but just send some love to Sarah in the comments. We are in a second going to, there's a little recording that I've done for everyone, which is just a 5-minute meditation for people just to relax in the space that you're in, and you can just listen to that 5-minute meditation, and when I come back we can just talk a little bit about how you found that experience in the meditation and everything. So for now, I just want to send so much love to Sarah for being here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
And we're going to hand it over to Richard to do the recording in a second. Commercial break first. Okay, fabulous. Thanks. We'll be back soon. Thank you, Richard.
The SPTV Divine Guidance Oracle Pack, a unique blend of inspiration and artistic beauty. Our captivating set of 78 cards combines the power of ancient archetypes, celestial guidance, and the essence of life itself to provide you with a unique tool for self-discovery, clarity, and transformation, all lovingly housed within an exclusive rigid box. The pack includes a booklet that delves into every card in detail, some of which carry dual meanings for deeper interpretation. The booklet also features 8 distinctive card spread layouts. Among these treasures, you'll discover 22 major arcana, 9 main archangels, 4 elements, and 40 life cards, each a work of art, radiating beauty and delivering profound messages that resonate deeply within your being. The SPTV Divine Guidance Pack, where beauty meets enlightenment. Pre-order today and unlock the extraordinary wisdom that awaits you. To be among the pioneers in experiencing our forthcoming collection and to reserve your pack in advance, as well as to access more details, including a sample audio description, kindly visit sptv.uk/cards.
MySpiritualDirectory.com is one of the fastest growing online free listing service. Our search directory offers geolocation feature, rating ability, review system, map location, customer comment, YouTube video, gallery, social media sharing, direct contact with the lister, simple online booking and payment system. It's free to register and use. It even creates your own mini web page, which you can update at any time, and yes, it's still free, no monthly or yearly fees. 100% free. Creates your own profile page. Add social media and other links. Add a mini gallery and a YouTube video. Rating, reviews and comments. Includes online booking and payments. So, if you're looking for a medium or a reader, even a church, maybe a healer, or any other spiritual service, then visit myspiritualdirectory.com.
Tonight at 6 p.m. UK time, join Debbie Romero and her special guest for an enchanting evening of captivating readings and insightful answers to your spiritual questions.
Hello everyone, and we are back. So I thought I'd explain a little bit about meditation. So before we stopped for the break, I explained that we were going to have a 5-minute meditation. So we've already done a pre-recording for you all to listen to. But before we do that, I just wanted to explain why I chose to include meditation in the programme with the Living Well Today. And that's because meditation's helped me so much with my own. I was constantly in the fight or flight mode probably about 5 years ago, before I started my healing journey and my own spiritual journey. And meditation and energy healing are the two things that have really, really helped to calm my nervous system and bring myself back into balance. So that's why I'm so passionate about meditation. So with meditation, you can do it standing, you can do it sitting down. It would actually be better to sit down and just be in a comfortable position, because for you just to get nice and relaxed. So I can see lots of comments coming through, and oh, thank you, Karen. So a great chat with lots of information, fabulous. So yes, with the meditation, so really what happens in meditation, it's basically creating a space for us to calm our nervous system. We are actually creating space for us to, rather than do. So in everyday life, we're moving from one task to the next. It's creating space for us to just allow us to be in this space and be with our breath, be with our body, and even the thoughts, being with the thoughts. Quite often people think, oh, the thoughts have to be completely clear, there needs to be no thoughts, or people think I can't meditate because my mind is busy, when actually if the mind is busy, that's the perfect time to meditate, because that's when our body and our mind needs that space to come into center and come into relaxation, and just bringing our, as we're focusing on the breath and coming into the meditation, we're bringing our awareness from our busy mind down into the body and just bringing it down. And as we do that, the nervous system will just slowly start to come into balance as we're doing that. So we spoke a little bit about the fight or flight earlier. When we do the meditation, it brings our nervous system, if we do happen to be in that fight or flight, it can then bring it into that rest and digest state that our body naturally has, so we can bring it into relaxation, so it counteracts the effects that the fight or flight can have on the body. So Stace, I love your comment, looking forward to this meditation. I really need it at the moment. So I think that is actually the perfect time for me to say that if you're sitting nice and comfortably, just start to get yourself comfortable, and I'm going to hand it over to Richard in a second to play the meditation, just so that you can have 5 minutes of just being with the meditation. So Richard, when you're ready, I'll hand it over to you to play the meditation. Thank you.
Allowing your awareness to drop into the body. We're just going to take a few gentle breaths here. We're just noticing what's going on for us in this moment, noticing the breath, noticing our thoughts, noticing the sounds within our environment, and just allowing everything to be exactly as it's meant to be, without changing anything. And as you breathe softly and gently here, start to become aware of your breath entering your nose and following your breath all the way down to the belly and all the way back out again. And when I say follow your breath all the way down to your belly, I mean follow the movements created in your body from your breath as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And I invite you in this moment to just start to become aware of the muscles in your body, which muscles are relaxed and which feel tense in this moment. And are you able to relax the body even just a little bit more on the out breath? And take a moment now just to allow yourself to be in this space, to be with your thoughts, to allow your body to be exactly as it is in this moment, to accepting how you are feeling in this moment fully. And as you breathe softly and gently in, you can repeat inhale as you breathe in, and exhale as you breathe out. And do this a few more times, breathing in on the in-breath, breathing out on the out-breath. And this time, as you breathe in, I invite you to breathe in relaxation to every part of your body. And as you breathe out, let go of anything that doesn't serve you in this moment. Let go of any thoughts of things that you need to do, your to-do list. Allow that to go on the out breath, allowing you to be fully here, fully present with your breath, allowing yourself to relax and rest your nervous system for just 5 minutes as we do this meditation. And notice any resistance within your body, within your energy, any need to push through the meditation to do something. Just notice what's going on for you, Or maybe for you, you're noticing that you're able to fully relax, fully be in this moment with your breath. And as you rest here in deep relaxation, just notice where your hands are. They relaxed in your lap or next to you. Noticing the parts of your body resting on what you're sitting on, what you're resting on, and just noticing where your feet are. Are they on the floor? And seeing if you can bring an element of softness into your body. And as you breathe softly and gently here, again bringing in full awareness with your breath, breathing in on the inhale, breathing out on the exhale, and setting the intention to start to bring yourself back round, moving your fingers, your toes, and slowly coming back to opening your eyes when you feel ready to do so. And that completes our 5 minutes of meditation. And I wish you
And hello and welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed the meditation. I'd love to hear from you, to hear your comments, just how you found that. And yeah, I hope you found it really relaxing. It's nice just to have 5 minutes just to stop what we're doing and stop that never ending, I was going to say, to-do list, just to have 5 minutes to ourselves. It's almost like giving permission to ourselves. And quite often I know that there's like a belief where you might have to meditate for half an hour or even longer, but actually just taking just those 5 minutes sometimes is just enough to really settle the nervous system. So, thank you, Michelle. I'm really pleased that you enjoyed it. Obviously, she said lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, for staying on and listening. Thank you, Karen, for staying on. So very relaxing. Thank you. I needed that. Oh gosh, I'm so pleased that you said that and that you benefited from it. So I'd be interested to know how people found it. Do people find that they did have thoughts while they were doing the meditation? Did anyone struggle with going into the meditation? So Stace, I see your comment here. So that was beautiful. Thank you, Adele. Didn't want to come back. Oh, bless you. I definitely find that sometimes when I'm in meditation, it's that you just want to stay there, don't you? Especially if you're in that deep relaxation. I've just come back. Hello, Christine. Lovely to see you here. I've just come back. So I'm pleased that you all enjoyed the meditation. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear if anybody, if anything came up for anyone, or if they struggled to connect with their breath. Hello, Julie. I'm loving that love heart with your hands. Sending you love right back at you. I'll see if I can do it. Okay, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I needed to connect with my breath as lots going on at the moment. Thank you. The breath is just so powerful, isn't it? And I very much, even in moments of my day, if I'm out in public or if I find myself feeling anxious, even during doing this live, just bringing the awareness, if I can feel my body going into feeling anxiety is present, I just bring my awareness back to the breath, and it's just so powerful, isn't it? Thank you, Rebecca, for your comment there. Thank you. There is, coming back to the breath, there is a quote that I absolutely love. I can't remember who it's by now, but the quote was, that you can come home to your breath in just 3 seconds, just by bringing your awareness to the in-breath. So you can come back to your breath in just 3 seconds. And I love that, like, come back home to the body. So if there's lots of thoughts, or if we're not stuck, but it's almost like if I feel I'm consumed by anxiety, then just bringing my awareness to the breath, so counting in for 3, that then just helps to calm everything that's going on for me in that moment. And I have done that even during the show, so you guys wouldn't have seen that, but I have done that. So just to really calm the nerves that I have been feeling today. But I often feel that out in public and stuff like that. Whenever I feel it, it's just coming back to that breath. So I think, unless anybody has any other questions, any other comments, I think that we're pretty much here, coming towards the end of the session. But we've got the lovely Michelle, so I just want to read your comment here. It was relaxing. It made me aware of tension in my shoulders and arms, so focusing on breathing it out. I love that. And that's that's what I like to make clear. And I think even in the meditation, I was saying about, rather than us focusing on changing anything, it's just being aware of what's going on, where that tension is. Because quite often when we're like in everyday life, it's so busy, where we're moving from one thing to the next, and our body can be tense the whole time. And it's when we bring awareness to our body, bring awareness to what we're feeling in that moment, we can just bring an element of softness to our body, an element of softness to our muscles, to our breath, and to our thoughts, and just to the moment. So I'm pleased that you were able to experience that, Michelle. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then we've got Morning Star here. I love that name. So we've got, have you ever tried meditation with your eyes open? The environment around you changes with your level of calmness. When I do it, the floor starts breathing with me, moving like water. I love that. And actually, yeah, so it was when I started practicing mindfulness meditation, and that is, you can obviously do that with your eyes open or closed. And actually, that's a perfect example, probably, of what I was experiencing during this show, where I could feel myself being caught up in I could feel anxiety was present. So just bringing my awareness back to the breath. My eyes are open and still actively doing things, but it's just bringing awareness. It's almost, yeah, I like that. So, and I think today in the meditation, I did say about closing the eyes, but you're right, you can do it with your eyes open. And I do like to do that in the morning when I wake up and take my dog out in the garden, and just take a few moments of just breathing out in nature. Nature is my favourite space of meditating with my eyes open. Like you were saying, taking in the surroundings, and it just bringing an extra level of calmness. I actually, at the weekend, we were at the beach. I love doing that with watching the waves, and you just watch them coming in and out. And you're right, you do see it from a different perspective, a different level. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Moonstar, and everybody else that's been with us today. So unless we've got any other comments, I think that's the end of our show today. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone for dialing in. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your love. And also, I also want to do a massive shout out to Sarah once again for joining us, and also to Richard, who you guys can't hear him, but he is behind the scenes doing everything to make this show happen. And yeah, just a massive shout out to him and everyone else. Oh yes, and also we have a 6 p.m. show with Debbie. So if anybody's listening to this and want to dial in at 6 p.m, we've got the lovely Debbie doing her show as well. So SPTV Live will be back with you this evening. So otherwise, I think I just want to say a massive thank you for coming, and we will be back. So I will be back with you in 2 weeks' time. This show, Living Well Today, will be run fortnightly. So if anybody wanted to connect with me between now and when I'm back on in 2 weeks' time, you can do that through my Facebook page, which is Awaken Within with Adele. And I would just love to connect with you all over the next few weeks, but I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Before we do go, I can see there is another comment, so I'm just going to acknowledge this. So Melanie, lovely to have you here. Every time I meditate, one of my cats won't leave me alone. She's all over me. Oh, that's so cute. Yes, yeah. Actually, the amount of times that I was sat meditating once on the floor with my legs crossed, my palms facing up on my lap, and as I'm meditating, my little dog came along and put her paw in my hand, as thinking that there was a little trick, like if she put a paw in my hand, we normally give her a treat and stuff, but it just made me laugh. So yes, oh bless you. Thank you for sharing and for commenting. And yeah, I'm just going to send you so much love to everybody watching, and I look forward to connecting with you over on my Facebook page over the next 2 weeks, or via SPTV Live in 2 weeks' time via the Living Well Today. Bye.